For over a century, we've been told a story about a deadly curse haunting the tomb of Tutankhamun. But what if the real killer wasn't a pharaoh's ghost? What if it was something far more sinister and something science can actually see? Today, we're putting the legend itself under the microscope. I want you to just imagine it for a second. You are there, breaking the seal on a room that's been closed for 3,000 years. You're the first person to breathe that air. What ancient dangers might be lurking in there with you? We've all heard the stories of the mummy's curse, but what if the real threat wasn't some spirit's wrath, but something far more insidious that we can finally explain? To get to the bottom of that question, we've got to go back to the beginning. Let's explore the story that absolutely captivated the entire world, the moment the legend was born. And things happened fast. I mean, really fast. In November 1922, Howard Carter makes the discovery of a lifetime. But just a few months later, his financial backer, Lord Carnarvon, is dead. The official cause? An infected mosquito bite. You can just imagine the newspapers, right? The timing was just too perfect, and a media frenzy immediately lit the fuse on this idea of a deadly curse. And this is where the power of a really good story just takes over. This quote, or something like it, started appearing in newspapers all over the world. Sounds terrifying, doesn't it? Well, the chilling part is that it was almost certainly fabricated. Yep, no such inscription was found anywhere in the tomb. But it didn't matter. The narrative was set, disturb the king, and you pay the ultimate price. But while the world was looking for ghosts and vengeful spirits, a completely different kind of suspect was lying in wait, totally invisible to the naked eye. We're talking about an ancient biohazard. So, what in the world is an ancient biohazard? Well, you have to stop thinking about the tomb as a treasure chest and start picturing it as a giant 3,000-year-old petri dish. I mean, you seal up a space with all this organic material, food, wood, textiles, and, a mummy, and then you just leave it alone for millennia. You've basically created the absolute perfect breeding ground for microscopic life. And what exactly could be lurking in that ancient air? We're talking about a pretty nasty cocktail. You've got pathogenic fungi like aspergillus, bacteria that can lie dormant for ages, and a big cloud of toxic dust from everything decaying. The moment Carter's team broke that seal, these microscopic killers would have been blasted into the air for the first time in millennia. For decades, the curse was this great mystery, kind of balanced between superstition and pure speculation. But now, modern science can actually step in and play detective, hunting for those microscopic killers. So, on one side, you have your lineup of supernatural suspects, the pharaoh's vengeance, the magical wards, a spirit's wrath. And on the other side, you have the scientific suspects identified by microbiologists, nasty fungi, dormant bacteria, and toxic spores. We're basically shifting this whole investigation out of the occult and straight into the laboratory. And the tools we have for this investigation are just incredibly powerful. Forensic archaeology and microbiology, they don't just look at bones and artifacts. They let us swab surfaces, sample ancient air, and even analyze the DNA of organisms that have been silent for centuries. It's like having a time-traveling microscope to look into the unseen world of the past. Okay, so we have our scientific suspects lined up. Now, let's put the legend on trial and see how the evidence actually stacks up. Let's start connecting the dots. Lord Carnarvon died of blood poisoning, or sepsis, after his mosquito bite got infected. So what could have weakened his immune system, making him so vulnerable? Maybe inhaling a lungful of ancient mold spores? Other team members reported respiratory issues. The likely culprit there? A fungal lung infection called aspergillosis, which causes those exact symptoms. Suddenly, the supernatural curse starts to look a whole lot like a series of very explainable medical events. Now, this is the number that really starts to unravel the entire myth. Of the 58 people who were present when the tomb was officially opened, how many do you think died within the next 10 years? The answer is just 8. That's it. That's hardly the work of an inescapable, all-powerful curse, is it? The mortality rate was actually pretty low. And we can't ignore the power of the human mind here. Imagine working for hours in the dark, deep underground, the air thick with the dust of centuries, and you're surrounded by these images of ancient gods and just the sheer weight of history. It's an eerie, high-stress environment. That kind of psychological pressure can easily make you perceive danger everywhere, turning a common cold or a simple feeling of unease into a terrifying sign of the pharaoh's wrath. So, we've deconstructed the myth, piece by piece. If we strip away the curse, what are we left with? What is the tomb's real legacy for us today? For me, this is the most fascinating part. Unraveling the mystery doesn't diminish the wonder of Tutankhamun's tomb. It actually enhances it. The true marvel isn't some magical curse, but the incredible resilience of microscopic life and the brilliant power of science to uncover truths that have been hidden for thousands of years. It makes the past feel not just ancient, but truly alive. Which brings us to one last thought. By applying a scientific lens, we basically turned a ghost story into a case study in microbiology and psychology. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other historical mysteries, from the lost city of Atlantis to the disappearance of Amelia Earhart, are just out there, waiting for the right scientific tools to finally be solved?